Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video we're looking at another small atmospheric ship, and this one is very much like a hoverbike and called the Dart S17, which is this lovely thing right here. So it's a very small and, like I said, hoverbike looking vessel, and it has everything you need to go out and about and enjoy yourself while exploring. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu. There it is. This thing is 123 small blocks and it uses no mods, it has no scripts, but it does have a programmable block there in case you want to use it. So you could use the hoverbike script if you wanted to. So what we're going to do is have a quick look around the outside, then we're going to fly it around for a bit and see how it handles. I do believe it's snowing and getting a little foggy. Let's just come and remove that very quickly. There we go. So coming to the very front, this is what we get. We got ourselves a spotlight to light up our way and an atmospheric thruster to help us stop. And we got some lovely blue blocks that come all the way around and connect onto our grey blocks and our windows. We can see we've got a small reactor there in case we need that additional power, and we've got ourselves a large battery there to help power this thing. For our glass, that covers up pretty much everything to make sure we're nice and protected from a few stray bullets coming towards us. And as we move around the side, we're going to see some more thrusters just tucked away to keep it nice and sleek with its design, and another battery. We've got some pinky lights at the bottom there just to add for some extra decoration. And moving all the way towards the back, an LCD screen where we've got some of our new LCD images, and the images are on a rotation, so after a set amount of time it will flip to a new one. Yes, pulling out of there we can see a gyroscope above that. And at the back there, we've got ourselves one giant atmospheric thruster to help push us around at some great speeds. So all the way around at the back, we can see the back of our atmospheric thruster, as well as some LCD screens with some little red things on there. Not too sure what they're actually saying, if they're actually saying anything, but there you go. And then just below our atmospheric thruster, we've got ourselves another interior light, with a little red glow to it, along with a landing gear to help us snap down onto the ground once we're done using this thing. As we come down and underneath below our landing gear, we're going to see more atmospheric thrusters to help us keep us off the ground, along with our programmable block for us to use. There is the bottom of our battery in case we need to weld it up, and there's our lights that glow along the side, along with a camera over here to help us land this thing to make sure we're not going to drop on anything explosive. And over here we've got ourselves a rotor block with no head, and there is a thruster at the front to help us stop. Moving up and above, we're going to see the tops of our glass where our reactor and battery and sound block are being kept. Yes, our sound block can be activated via the cockpit, so we can have some tunes while riding this thing around. Coming along there past where I'm sitting, if we come around to here, we've got ourselves some LCD screens which tell us the weather, our meters per second, and our artificial horizon. Turning around and continuing along the back, we've got ourselves a parachute hatch just in case we get into a very dire situation. And we can see both our gyroscopes right there just to help us maneuver this thing. An antenna block there so we can always find it. And that is our atmospheric thruster at the back. So with that done and out of the way, let's just go into my character and bring up the HUD. So what we got here is quite a few little options. Number one is going to be our cruise control. So if I was to fly this thing forwards and leave that off, we're simply going to glide along at our rate and not slow down until we switch it back on, where we'll start to slow down, but it's not that great. Our larger atmospheric thruster is too much for our frontal thrusters to handle, so we will need to do a 180 if we want to stop in a reasonable amount of time. Number two is for our parachute hatch to open and close it in case we need manual control over it, and 3 and 4 is for our sound blocks. So 3 will play the music, which is simply the Space Engineers music, and 4 will stop it. Number 5 is for our camera, which is just below us to help us land this thing. 6 and 7 is to add and detach our rotor heads, and number 8 is for our reactor on and off, and number 9 is for our battery to auto or recharge. On tab number 2 we then got controls for our lights around the ship, so we can press that and it will turn it off on the sides there. And number 2 is for our ore detector on and off. I didn't actually see the ore detector on this thing. And number 3 is for our gyroscopes on and off. Now I'm not too sure what this control actually does. If I come over to here, it just says gyroscopes. But our gyroscopes are currently active when that's turned off, and if I was to flip this on, we just sort of start spinning very fast. So let's just turn that off and try and rectify this before we come crashing down to the ground. There we go. So yes, if you want to turn yourself into a human blender, you have a button to press, and that is that, the controls. So moving forwards, like I said, we've got a lot of thrust going forwards, but not too much for stopping. So if we were to go like that, it's going to take quite some time to stop, so we have to rely on our 180 and boost forwards to stop ourselves. Moving left and moving right, we are quite slow, but it's not as bad as going backwards. And then going down, we should have a nice lot of speed despite not having any thrusters pointing up. We're just relying on turning off our thrusters. And then going up, we should have a nice lot of speed there thanks to all those thrusters underneath us. So there we go. Moving my mouse around, we've got a nice lot of control over this, a tiny bit of weight on it, but not too much, and it does suit this size of ship. Considering we are a tiny ship, you wouldn't expect to have much weight for the controls. Yes, as for that, that is pretty much it for the Dart S17. It's a very nice little ship to play around with, especially if you just want to go explore different places, map out different areas to search for a new base location, or to even just go find ore patches thanks to that ore detector. But as for that, that is pretty much it for this video. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do want to play around with it yourself, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. But like our previous video, let's just go and slam ourselves into the side of this mountain. There we go, that was a glorious smash, and we destroyed half the ship. Bye bye.